This is Ray Pate. In my last Project Zomboid video, we got started with her story. If you haven't seen the first part, I encourage you to check that video out before this one. Will we be able to survive another week? Comment down below what you think. And without further ado, let's get right into it. I started day 8 off with a cigarette. I ate the last little bit of ice cream and got my day started off by clearing out some zombies. But the main reason I was out here was to find a backpack. If you remember in the last video, we are in the process of building our wall, so having something to carry more logs will make building it go a lot faster. I ended up making my way to the bank where I let myself in. There was a locked door, but I didn't have the key, so I made my way upstairs, where I found food that I took and then a stairway that led me into the locked room, which had a giant water bottle. There wasn't much else at the bank, so I returned home to fill up the bottle. Then I noticed a group of zombies forming across the street, and one of them had a shotgun strapped to its back. After I killed it, I grabbed the shotgun along with an extra bulletproof vest. Upon taking out the rest, I found a fanny pack with some 357 rounds and a speed loader inside. I returned home to place down our new gear and read a little metalworking until time for bed. I started the day off with some TV before venturing into the morning fog, still looking for a backpack. I went to the house at the end of the street and only found food and some reading material. This house was a bust. Wanting to turn my luck around, I noticed a police car down the street. Must have been the zombie from earlier. So I went to have a look. Inside the police car was a duffel bag, even better than a backpack. It also had a regular 5.56 and an extended 9mm mag. The door was locked, but the car was absolutely trashed, so I just broke the window to check the glove box. And then returned home. Once I got home, I grabbed the axe and went outside to chop some trees. We also needed more ripped sheets for the walls, so I took some off of this zombie. I was able to make one more before realizing we needed to tear down more of our fence. I was a little exhausted after that, so I ate some food and watched TV, where we were able to finish Metalworking Volume 1. After that, I returned back outside to tear down some more fence and place more walls. I became exhausted again, so I took some vitamins and started reading First Aid Volume 1. This would help us level up our medical skill quicker when bandaging wounds, and then it began to rain outside. Since we were already tired, I decided to go ahead and sleep through the night. I woke up the next morning to check my stats. 9 days survived and over 120 zombies killed. After boosting my ego a little, I realized it was still raining, so I decided to continue reading until it was done. And just as the rain stopped, we finished our book. It was time to add it to the finished books pile. I checked my skills, and while grabbing some food, it started to rain again. Ugh. While it's pouring down outside, if you're enjoying the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. We're closing in on 500 subscribers, we're getting closer every day. But anyway, let's get back to the video. I figured since we have some free time, I should start marking some important locations on our map. I started with what I think is the nearby school, and then I also marked the bank and the church. After sitting around doing nothing for hours, I got a little impatient and went over to the neighbors to continue leveling up my carpentry skill. We need to get it to level 4 before the power goes out to make the rain catcher. Eventually, the rain did stop, so I went back out to chop some more trees. But as soon as I got out there, the rain started again. I wouldn't let this bother me, so I continued chopping anyway. And after making a wall, I didn't really want to catch a cold, so I went back inside and waited until time to sleep. I woke up early the next morning. It was still raining, but I was done waiting for it to stop, so I went and made a wall. I then decided to go ahead and destroy the fence all the way down to the corner, but I would run into a little trouble while doing so. It was now 8 AM, and with that project done, I went to go chop down some more trees, where I would again run into a little trouble. I grabbed a watch and some beta blockers, smoked a cigarette, and continued construction. I ventured back out to what I'm calling Main Street. I wanted to loot the bookstore. After watching the horde move away, I made my move. After clearing out the surrounding zombies, there was another waiting inside. And before I could even loot, there was another at the door. And then I made a stupid mistake. I was now scratched and losing blood. I killed the other zombie inside, bandaged up, and swiftly looked through the books, grabbing the ones I needed. We got lucky and found the How to Use a Generator magazine, so I guess it was worth it. Making all of that noise attracted a couple more zombies. After killing them all, I ran home, where, of course, there was another group of zombies. I went inside, disinfected my wound, grabbed a book, and did some reading while I checked out my temperature. It seemed like the scratch wouldn't infect us anymore, so I went to sleep. On awakening the next morning, I removed my bandage to find out that we would be okay. And after we couldn't get much done yesterday, I got right to work by heading over to the woods, but a group of zombies had migrated into the parking lot. After grabbing some loot and some logs, I became hungry, so I went back home to eat. And then decided to start chopping down trees behind the house. Eventually, we had to start hopping fences to get to them. Because of that, we became exhausted, and then my axe broke. So I snuck back to the house, missing a zombie along the way. After killing the zombie, I decided to read some magazines. And then added them to the pile, and went to axe some more trees. Which ended up leading to an accident while jumping over the fence. I bandaged up, went back home to have a smoke, and read Carpentry Volume 2 before bed. I woke up to check my stats on day 12 to see that I passed 150 zombies killed. We were starting to run a little low on food, so I decided this morning we would go on a run. On the way out, I found a zombie with a Glock on it, and then made my way to a nearby house. Inside, I found some military desert boots, which are a lot better than my current sneakers, and the kitchen had a really good amount of food. Upstairs, there was a motorcycle helmet that I put on for more safety. Overall, this house had a bunch of good stuff. I went home to store everything, then went out to do some work on the wall, where I again had an accident. I put a fresh bandage on and removed the dirty one. I wouldn't let this stop us from doing any work, so I placed in one more wall and decided to go looking for a generator. Literally, the first garage I checked, right across the street from us, there was a generator inside. I picked it up and went home. I realized I never tested the rope ladder, so I gave it a try, and then went to go grab some more logs, when I had another accident. I dropped my axe on the other side of the wall, and while jumping over to get it, I caught another scratch. And another. By the way, if you can't tell, I'm still fairly new to Project Zomboid, so if you have any tips for me, please comment them down below. I was short one bandage, so after coming home, I put on another and then read some Carpentry Volume 2. Eventually, I finished the book and then took the bandages off to check the damage. Still having 4 scratches, I went upstairs to disinfect and apply fresh bandages to the wounds. I took a couple painkillers to help with the aching, and not wanting to do too much since we were injured, I grabbed Farming Volume 1 and started reading. Hopefully we'll be able to start a farm in the backyard eventually with the seeds in the compost bag we have downstairs. We were also really bloody from all the work we've done, so I wanted to clean myself off before I went to bed. The next morning I woke up and realized all of our scratches have healed. I took a celebratory smoke, and then decided to go around and break some of the fences so I wouldn't have to jump over them anymore. I went around breaking the corners so that we could get across to all of the neighbors' yards. After doing so, I equipped the axe and got to work. I chopped down a couple more trees and then placed in a couple more walls, before I ran into a little trouble. At least I can make ripped sheets from all the zombies. I was able to make the wall all the way to the fence, so I felt pretty accomplished. I went back home to cool off a little while I read, and then went into a house to kill a pesky zombie that's been knocking at the door. I grabbed the food from the kitchen when it started to rain. Not letting that stop me, I started tearing up some of the fence in the backyard. I'm doing it little by little, so there's still a barrier between us and some of the zombies coming in. I made a bowl of oatmeal with pears, brown sugar, maple syrup, and honey. Yes, I was just adding any ingredient that I could find, but it worked. I did some reading while I continued to rain, and then went to sleep. After waking up on day 15, I went to disassemble the fence, ignoring the rain. I ended up breaking it all the way over to where we needed it, and while walking around grabbing some logs, I noticed one of the dead had a fiberglass arrow on it. After taking it, I returned back to place in a couple more walls, before heading over to the garage behind our house to check it out. And there was a lot of good stuff in there. Now with the clock past 10, I have officially passed 14 days survived. If you all have enjoyed the video and would like to see more, consider leaving a like and subscribing. If you have any recommendations on how to make the series better, comment that down below. I've been ASUS Samurai 7 and I will see you all in the next episode. Peace out.